Is there collective bargaining momentum in college football? Even though the chances have become less and less and less over the last couple months that the student athletes will be deemed employees of the university or the athletic departments, let's take a look. Welcome, episode 418 of College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Flugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do as well, please subscribe to our channel, smash the like button if you like our content, share the video with your family and friends. Let's not waste any more time. Amanda Christovich from Front Office Sports puts out, releases, publishes a great article today on the subject of collective bargaining and all the other biggest changes that might be coming around in 2025. We do provide a link in the description box below the video. You can read the whole article. The biggest changes to college sports are coming in 2025. And we've been saying here at Peek Around the Corner, 2025 is going to be crazy. It's going to be crazy. From revenue sharing to athlete employee status, here's how the college sports business model could continue to evolve in the coming year. In 2024, college football experienced multiple seismic shifts. A season of change began with another round of realignment led by the Pac-12 and accumulated in the first 12-team college football playoff that so far has showcased an unprecedented amount of parity. But in 2025, the entire business model of the college sports could change in football and beyond. Revenue sharing, employee status, and collective bargaining are all on the table. Holy smokes. While the courts, Congress, and industry stakeholders battle over the specifics, college sports and big-time football in particular are moving further into an era of professionalization. Revenue sharing on the horizon. This is the one that we all know, right? This is the one that is the chalk to happen. The most probable change, revenue sharing, will result from the House versus NCAA settlement. Think of it as a give and take. The NCAA is conceding that schools should finally be allowed to pay players, but in exchange, it wants more power to control the NIL name, image, and likeness market. The settlement proposal, which calls for $2.8 billion in damages and infrastructure for schools to pay players, were filed in July and granted preliminary approval in October. Northern District of California Judge Claudia Wilkin has the opportunity to give it a final rubber stamp during a hearing on April 7th, which would set the Division I revenue sharing era in motion on July 1st, 2025. That is coming up. As it stands now, each D1 school would have the opportunity to share up to a certain amount of money with every player in its athletic department per year. The cap will begin at around $20.5 million per school and will rise to around $30 million over 10 years. Schools will have to pay all their players, from football players to swimmers. According to the NCAA, schools should have just a 3-month window to figure out implementation, which has produced a wave of new athletic department infrastructure, like salary cap managers, creative fundraising efforts, but the distribution rules are still up in the air. The future of collectives is uncertain. Currently, players can negotiate deals with schools, coaches, collectives, and donors before they enroll at a school, which the NCAA considers pay for play. But the House settlement would require a third-party operator to approve all 600 plus NIL deals from school-affiliated entities. If the operator believes the deals are above the fair market value for the player's NIL rights, then the deal will be blocked. I wonder what the courts are going to think about that. Multiple experts have told Front Office Sports that they don't know how fair market value would be determined and whether the concept would hold up if challenged in court. as a result of the restriction. Some schools have announced that they begin to sunset the collectives altogether or instead bring them in-house. But others think collectives could still find workarounds. The employee status of these student athletes is less likely. At the beginning of 2024, the athlete-employee movement was gaining momentum. In January, 2 National Labor Relations Board cases involving Dartmouth men's basketball players and USC football and basketball respectively appear to be progressing toward an athletic-friendly rulings. Dartmouth players received the right to unionize and voted to do so in March. Meanwhile, the NCAA's Congressional lobbying campaign to halt the movement wasn't gaining traction. But in November, Donald Trump won the presidential election and a red wave swept both houses of Congress. Trump and Congressional Republicans will have plenty of mechanisms to halt the athlete-employee movement. After Inauguration Day, Trump is expected to remove the athletic-friendly NLRB General Counsel Jennifer Abruzzo. He'll also have the opportunity to almost immediately flip the pro-labor makeup of the NLRB National Board after the Senate failed to reconfirm Chairman Lauren McFerrin for another term. The new makeup of the Congress will likely also be pro-NCAA. Ted Cruz, Republican Senator, Texas, will head this Senate Commerce Committee, which has jurisdiction over the college sports compensation questions. And he's already said that passing a bill to govern college sports will be a priority. That's PATC money shot number 1 of the article. Ted Cruz has already said that passing a bill to govern college sports will be a priority. He's also signaled interest in banning athletes from being deemed employees. That's PATC money shot number 2 of the article. And here is PATC money shot number 3 of the article. Though Ted Cruz, he's also conceded his legislation will need to be bipartisan. Interesting times ahead. Back to the article. All hope isn't lost for employee status movement. The Johnson versus NCAA case, which argues all D1 athletes are employees, is still pending in federal court. And if the Congress passes a law over athlete employee status that halts the case, attorney Paul McDonald plans to challenge it on equal protection grounds. And finally in the article, we'll get to the collective bargaining has momentum. A growing chorus of stakeholders have begun to call for athletes to gain more negotiating power. Coaches have proposed collective bargaining. The coaches have. A group of plaintiffs in the House case have written a letter asking the judge to mandate the creation of a players' association. Federal lawmakers on both sides of the aisles have noted players need a bigger voice. It's hard to say, now this is from Amanda directly, Christovich. It's hard to say whether an association that isn't formally recognized union would have that much power, though. And finally, there are plenty of moving parts, but one thing is certain. In 2025, college athletics will look more like professionals than ever before. Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So, a great article written by Amanda Christovich. Please put down your comments and thoughts in the comments section below the video. I read all the comments. I don't always comment on all the comments, but I do read them all. Collective bargaining is gaining momentum even though employee status for student athletes is going backwards. How much collective bargaining power would the athletes have if they're not deemed employees, if they can't be unionized? It just doesn't quite make a whole lot of sense to me. We want more voices for the student athletes. We want them to be heard. We want them to have more compensation. But you know what? If we're going to do that for the long haul, the student athletes need to be represented by an organization that has some negotiation power. That's how I look at it. This is episode 418. From the very first episode of Peek Around the Corner, we thought we put the flag on the ground that a collective bargaining agreement, the CBA, has to be done for the future of college sports, for what we are doing here at this college football YouTube channel, for the future of college football, for the health of college football, for the growth of college football, and for the health and the well-being of the student athletes and, quite honestly, the institutions, the athletic departments, and us fans. Collective bargaining has to come into the landscape. And I hope it's in 2025. Is it really gaining momentum? Maybe people are willing to talk about it more, but I don't know. We shall see. We shall see. Put down your comments and thoughts. We're going to continue to cover this story here at Peek Around the Corner when it comes to a possible CBA among all parties. I don't think it's going to happen in 2025. I do believe a lot of big things are going to happen in 2025. So I hope you stick with us here at PATC. Until next time, from all of us to all of you, please you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.